Well, guys, I think all of us know that AI is absolutely the future and it seems to be accelerating. But it looks like there may be one massive winner out of everyone, and it's just now getting started, at least according to Wall Street. So let's talk about all that today. Let's see exactly what Wall Street's saying, get into that stock itself, and see, is it truly going to be the big winner in AI, or is this just more Wall Street garbage? Let's talk about all that today, right after you hit that like button if you like getting the truth without the hype, because that's exactly what you're going to get today, guys. So as you guys know, AI is all the rage. It is absolutely, it looks like a nuclear arms race per se in regards to AI. But now Wall Street seems to be all over this stock. So let's see exactly what they're saying and break down what's true, what's not true, and I'll give you my opinion on all that.
It's time for our cash tag segment. For that, let's bring in our next guest. That's going to be Megan Brantley, VP of Research at Likefolio. Welcome back to the show, Megan.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, so we're talking Meta platforms. The stock's been on a tear, but a lot of these tech stocks have rebounded pretty sharply from those April lows. Are you guys still seeing positive data out of this one post-election, that big ad spend that we saw at the end of 2024? And the engagement, Megan, we always talk about over 3.3 billion monthly active users across all their platforms. It's hard to kind of bet against a company like that, and they actually might be tariff-proof too, right?
Yeah, as I was preparing notes for this segment, I was thinking, man, this reminds me a lot of Spotify in terms of its content engagement and recommendation engine. This reminds me a lot of that ability to leverage AI now in a way that seems very meaningful, and where we're starting to see this churn underneath the surface and now result in better returns whenever you consider advertising, when you consider how much time consumers are spending on the platform, when you consider how they're actually engaging with those advertisers and those businesses. And a lot of this is because of the way that Zuckerberg went all in on AI.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there because she made a point about in regards to ad spend and all that other stuff like that. Here has been my talking point for the past 3 years at least in regards to AI. It comes down and it's going to boil down to who is able to monetize it at scale. Regardless of how you monetize it, to me, that's somewhat irrelevant. I think there's going to be a lot of different ways to do that. There's not just one, but you got to figure out how to monetize it at scale. And a company like Meta is already at a massive advantage because they already have advertising at scale. It is simply integrating AI to further improve that, exactly like she put out right there. So, because that to me is the key in winning the AI race, is not having the one that most people use or anything else of that nature. I'm not saying that's not great, but if you can't figure out how to monetize it, it doesn't freaking matter from a stock perspective. And that's what you have to keep in mind. Hype, you can serve, you solve cancer, cure it tomorrow. And if you can't figure out how to generate an actual bottom line profit and massive profits, it doesn't matter. The stock will tank. You could be the greatest company ever. Hey, you solve cancer. You're getting the keys to the country, the keys to the city, whatever the case is, all the accolades in the world. But it's a terrible stock to own if you can't figure out how to actually make profits with it. So that to me has been one of my talking points from the start with AI. That's the reason why I didn't care and I didn't think ChatGPT was going to kill off Google or any of that other crazy narratives like that, because they haven't figured out how to monetize it yet. Still haven't figured out how to monetize it yet. Yes, they're making a little bit of money, but it's nothing at scale. Sorry, Google ads blow it out of the water. It's not even close. We're not even, we're talking a little speck on the radar there compared to Google. So until you're able to actually monetize it, and again, there's going to be multiple ways to monetize it, it doesn't freaking matter in regards to is this company behind or this company ahead or whatever the case is. It's not relevant if you can't figure out how to make money from it.
I think that when he was doing this, the market was a little scared. Wall Street was a little scared. CapEx spend was enormous on AI, but we're starting to see the fruits of that labor kind of show up in a lot of the data whenever we look at Meta. If you consider this chart right here, you can see that the Meta ads, when you look at this, you say, okay, it's down 10%. But if you consider the piece of the pie that Meta comprises when it comes to advertising versus say a Reddit versus say a Snapchat that's at the top of that chart, it's massive. It's hard to, you couldn't even put it on a pie chart because the sizes would be so obscured. I think Meta brought in over.
Correct. She makes a great point right there. This is where social media and numbers are deceiving. Somebody will post this chart and show you how Reddit is just crushing and eliminating Facebook ads. Look at those numbers, 83%, Facebook's down 10%, or Meta's down 10%, whatever the case is. And then if you actually looked at the actual revenue being derived, you wouldn't even see Reddit on there. It wouldn't even register. That's how small the little sliver of the pie was kind of the point she was trying to make there. So that's the reason why I ignore this sort of stuff. I especially stay off of X and all the rest of the social media nonsense where somebody will take that, post it, and then tell you why you should run away from, Google or Meta or whatever the case is and go all in on Reddit or I don't know, some other ridiculous narrative like that. It happens all the time, not just with this space. All the spaces out there. This is the reason why you have to actually get down and go a little bit deeper than just simply a chart that somebody shows you. Actually get into the raw data and figure out the numbers.
41 billion in advertising revenue last quarter, and that comprises a large portion of its revenue. And this is now kind of shifting to say, okay, now Meta's AI models are getting so good that it's building these, AI agents that can fully automate, fully take care of an entire campaign for you. And so now, if you're a business and you're trying to figure out, where can I advertise, where can I spend? Previously, you might have had to have gone to a PR agency, a marketing agency. Some of that spend would have gone to someone who is a professional who could help you kind of build these campaigns out and target the audience that you're looking for. And now Meta says, wait, we can do that for you. And so we anticipate,
Great point. It is definitely something that I don't trust most companies to do that because most companies are terrible at advertising. But Meta and Google are the two gold stars. And we're talking here and here, 1 and 1A, or just basically on an equal plane. And everybody else is down here below the table. Nobody can figure it out. I don't understand the secret sauce that's there. I just know that the results have been there for years now in regards to them being vastly superior to everybody else. So them being able to take this to that next level will further increase the jump away from traditional advertising into more digital online advertising in the future there, especially if you're not having to hire ad agencies and a lot of other things to do your campaigns for you. If the AI truly gets that good, and again, these companies have figured out how to target audiences better than anyone in regards to ad spend, better ad conversion, everything. I mean, every metric across the board is better. There's no reason why I would doubt that they can't then do that in regards to running a campaign start to finish for you, which again is going to be another game changer when you can just simply give them the spots that you want and they take care of everything else. That's going to drive more revenue, more profits, and of course, more money for us as shareholders as we move forward.
Elevated spend heading in Meta's direction as these AI agents kind of take over that campaign planning process. And so I would say that is one big propeller of growth for Meta. And then also just in those engagement trends, on our end, we see Instagram really driving growth in terms of getting more eyeballs, especially among the younger generation. But, we see signs that consumers are spending more time on these platforms, still not as much time as they spend on, say, like a TikTok. However, higher engagement and leveraging AI to make better recommendations in terms of content recommendations is certainly what you want, especially whenever you have 3.4 billion eyeballs captive.
Megan, when I look at the evolution of Meta and what they're doing now, it almost seems, they are flooding the zone with headlines right now. First, a couple weeks ago, you had the nuclear deal, right? The 20-year nuclear deal.
Just for reference, headlines are for traders. I care less about headlines. However, the announcements have been great announcements overall. Maybe not always something that will produce profits now, but something that could definitely aid in profits in the future. But just so that way you guys understand that clearly, at least from my perspective, I care less whether or not they're generating headlines or not. I care about earnings performance and other things of that nature, not headlines.
This week, starting out, you had the 14.8 investment in the AI startup, right? Then you had the super intelligence group from yesterday where Mark Zuckerberg is changing desks around their offices because he thinks they're not going fast enough. Then today, they launch a world model focusing on robotics and self-driving cars. This is going to, they are trying to take over AI and be a clear leader in AI. The money that they're putting, the CapEx spending spree that they're on, the question is, eventually, Megan, is this monetizable? I don't even know if that's the right word. Can they monetize this to enough for all the CapEx they're spending? It's a big number. Is AI going to be that big for them, in your opinion?
That's a great question. I wish I had a crystal ball. I would say that right now, just in, let's say, advertising, right now, that's the majority of their revenue, and where we would expect to see that immediate impact of improvements in AI is in advertising. And so I think that that's the first piece of it. We're kind of watching how advertising at large is shifting, because you have a big shift in how consumers are finding information, finding brands. They're not necessarily going to that Google search bar and typing that in. And that's a massive bucket, a massive piece of the advertising puzzle that Meta can certainly steal away, because now you have a lot of, especially younger consumers, who, if they're looking for a restaurant, if they're looking for a product, they're going to go straight to social media. They're going to go straight to Meta and search. And this is a very, very captive audience who's looking for information, looking to make a purchase. And so I think that that is the first, easy level of, yes, I do think that AI will certainly catapult and expand Meta's already massive piece of the advertising pie. Now, in terms of other applications, we'll see. I think that, it's interesting to see Meta dabbling in smart glasses. It's interesting to see Meta dabbling in, that new the new model that you mentioned, the world model that really focuses on visual interpretation and allows AI to kind of see what is actually happening in the world. Some of the examples that they talked about, I can see the applications there. I think it remains to be proven, but I like the ambition. And you can also kind of see the tie in there with what Meta has tried to do with its Reality Labs vision, what it's trying to do with its smart glasses. So we'll see how that comes to home to roost. But for now, at least in the immediate future, we think that Meta will be a very large winner of shifting advertising dollars to more traditional methods, whether it be streaming services or whether it be social media platforms.
All right. So to kind of answer the question there, her answer wasn't bad. She's absolutely right. It's the advertising is going to be the primary driver for now. We'll see what the future holds. What I love about Meta and really all of big tech is that their margins are so massive. We've never had massive, multi-trillion-dollar companies before with margins so massive, with cash flow so massive that they can basically afford to light money on fire and still print massive profits to the bottom line, regardless of what's going to happen there. So when you have something like Meta, where it's just going to enhance what they already do great, then Zuck and team can choose to dabble in all kinds of different areas. Do I think they're going to be successful in all the areas I just named off? Autonomous, the glasses, all these other things that they're working on right now? Probably not. But they don't need to hit on all of them. They really only need to hit on one of them for them to just continue to generate massive profits well into the next decade or two moving forward. So to me, it's worth taking a shot in multiple areas, even if it ends up not working out, because all you need is one to kind of take you to that next level. Also keep in mind with a stock like Meta, they haven't monetized just simply their social media platforms yet. You still aren't really monetizing WhatsApp, which look at how many users there are using WhatsApp. I know here in the US it's a little bit different, but go anywhere else in the world, anywhere. I travel constantly to Europe, to Asia. Everybody uses WhatsApp. They don't use iMessage like we do, or traditional text messaging. Everybody uses iMessage for everything. It is simply amazing to use, and they're not really monetizing that right now. So not only can they pull that lever to pull in more money to kind of push this out further and to continue to generate massive profits for us, at the same time take all these type moonshot type opportunities and go after them aggressively. So do I think they're going to be successful in all of them? No. Is that going to be money wasted? Yes and no. If you understand exactly how business works, you usually end up with a lot of misses before you finally have that hit. That's kind of the way that it works. And right now, everybody's trying to figure out, and everybody's spending billions upon billions of dollars trying to find that one hit. And that's all they have to find is the one item that really takes off. We end up with more than that. Great. Obviously, as shareholders, that's incredible. So anyways, we'll get back to the video here, and I'll tell you guys here in a little bit exactly why I'm so excited for Meta.
The ones that Meta has in its umbrella.
So, I was looking at the Meta, the Llama downloads from their large language model here, Megan. Is that monetizable right away for Meta? Is that why they're pouring so much money into it? Because, if you're on their platforms, whether it's WhatsApp, Instagram, or Facebook, that's monetizable eyeballs there. Is this a way to kind of expand that where, hey, if I don't use Google search anymore, I'm going to use, my large language model that's already built into the social media platform that people scroll through on a daily basis?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also helping those businesses that are on Meta, in terms of chats, in terms of remembering conversations and remembering searches and what consumers are interested in. So I think it helps to build a more engaged consumer, and it also helps to build a smarter and more strategic business and advertising base. So
there you go. Helps with the advertising, which is what they already do. Same exact reason why I don't think Google's dead or anything else like that. It's just Gemini is going to simply enhance what they already do. Same exact thing with Llama as well. It's an enhancement of an already awesome business that is very, very different than some of the other LLMs out there that are trying to create businesses out of the blue.
all of these investments in AI, like I said, the first piece of this puzzle, the first place that we think that is going to absolutely benefit is just that advertising revenue, and that could potentially just be ramping up. As Meta gets better and better at targeting these consumers, we see the average price for an ad on one of Meta's platform went up 10% last quarter. So I'd expect to see some expansion there, as that's just another way for Meta to turn up the heat in terms of advertising, in terms of targeting these consumers. And so for us, like you mentioned, the stock I think is up almost 20% year to date, but not quite to all-time highs. But we expect this name to have some continued momentum, especially through the end of the year, as some of these ad gains may be under-realized even now.
All right, still positive on the name, even though it's up 58% off those April lows. All right, great stuff. As always, Megan, appreciate it.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the video right there. Again, the end piece there about advertising. Yes, they're the best in the game along with Google, 1 and 1A. They can raise those prices 10% every quarter, really for as long as you can, anytime they want, for as long as they want, for now at least. And people are going to pay it because it is the gap is so massive between the top and the bottom. It's just you're wasting money, to me, putting it in any other place except for those two for now in regards to ad spend. And it has been that way for a very, very long time. By far and away the best bang for your buck. So that's one piece of the pie right there. Now, that's obviously why I'm very, very excited about Meta and Google as well. But the other reason why Meta really, really, really excites me is because they are playing with house money. And what I mean by that is they can increase that advertising infinitely and print money. They can monetize WhatsApp and print money. All their AI initiatives can fail, and this business still prints money, given the margins, giving everything else that it has. Now, I don't think everything's going to fail, but just kind of worst case scenarioing it there, everything they work on can completely fail, and it doesn't matter. It's a great business model. I obviously don't believe everything will fail, but nonetheless, even if it does, that's the reason why I own this stock, because it's not like this stock is dead if that happens. It's not. That is not true. Anybody out there saying that just is not paying attention to the financials, has no clue how the business works, and has obviously not done even a baseline level of due diligence on the stock. Now, I understand some people just don't like Zuckerberg. Maybe you're more bullish on other names. That's completely fair. But somebody who doesn't think this stock is not, and this company is not going to continue to print massive profits to the bottom line for as far as we can see, man, that person just has no clue what they're doing, or they're just trying to fit a narrative or something else of that nature. And I would completely ignore that individual. So for me, Meta's absolutely a great company, not even trading at a bad valuation right now. So definitely one to keep your eye on there. I'm so glad I own so many shares. I'm so glad we were able to add in 2022, 2023. Even last year, we were able to add down in the 450 range or so. And here we are massively just on those buys, just simply last year. Great company, so I'm going to continue to look to add shares whenever Wall Street wants to get dumb and give me an opportunity. And if you made it this far in the video, I may have left something special down in the pinned comment for you. If you want to learn exactly how to do due diligence, do evaluation, see all my buy and sell alerts in real time, get your free coaching, get your free courses, be a part of the best 6, 7, and 8-figure Discord out there. Everything, guys, there's so much involved. Check out the pinned comment, see exactly what a membership, and see if it's right for you. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market. And click here to see my exact plan for this market. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.